If you met me 10 years ago, I was psychotic, I was hallucinating, I was verbally aggressive. I felt that I was institutionalized for life, Clement, because I found for a sec moment there, I found out that the only way for me to get better was to be hospitalized. It's so easy to say, but it's hard to do, you know? I found the way that helps me feel, makes my life fulfilling and with hopeful with meaning. I am still human. I have those bad days.
More than 10 hospitalization, stigma, and today a full-time job. Actually, not exactly full-time because you're also doing things on the side, but you have like public stages, and most of all, it's a life which has been rebuilt. And bipolarity can take everything, but it can also reshape who we are as a person. And I want to welcome you to Bipolar Talk, that space where we turn our bipolarity into an opportunity. As a person with bipolarity myself, I have been diagnosed a few years ago, and I just wanted to help people with bipolar like me, and so that's why I founded Upstage. So it's a non-for-profit to help bipolar people. And so today I'm joined with Suzanne Dang. Suzanne is a lived experience mental health worker, advocate, speaker, artist, and peer worker in Australia, especially in Brisbane. She openly bipolar type 1, and she uses her story to help other people believe that recovery is possible. And I love this subject because it's all about hope. But can you present yourself, Suzanne?
Hi, everyone. My name is Suzanne. From the moment I realized that I could use my mental illness to help others, I never looked back. I have a YouTube mental health channel and I received a number of comments over the years. One of the comment was, I hope you die from depression. And another comment was, you're the ugliest sack of shit I ever seen. But my life changed when I received a different kind of comment. I was going to end my life today, but I saw your video and I didn't. That was a turning point in my life, and I realized that if my story could help save a life, why not? Or even inspire or encourage or empower someone who's going through something similar like me, who has bipolar type 1. I find that over the years, my emotional resilience has really improved. I grant myself in opportunities and experiences. I look for experiences that helps me grow as a person, and that through those experiences, I can become more emotionally resilient. I work in a mental health space as a lived experience peer worker, and I do find some struggles in working there. I was working there full time for a year, and I noticed that my mental health was affected. And so I reduced my hours, and it's better for my mental health that way. And I'm glad that I'm in this journey. No matter how many bad days I've had so far, I rely on the good days and that things can be positive and that I can give back through my sharing my story of overcoming bipolar and schizoaffective disorder. Thanks for having me, Clement.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And you're talking about something that matters to me a lot, which is work is, I believe, really important when we are bipolar. And I'm not someone who believes that not working is a good thing. But I also believe that not every type of work and not every type of hours is good for us. I think it's really about finding a balance for
Absolutely.
yourself.
Yes.
And maybe you can share a little bit why you have done those decisions and help people out on, okay, what type of work should I do and what limit should I put myself?
Absolutely. So I started working with West Morton since January early last year, but I've been working in mental health for 6 years as a lived experience worker. And if I was to compare my other jobs to the mental health jobs I've had in the past years, I have never seen a job like mine where they and the management and HR encourage us to take care of ourselves and allow us to take mental health day offs. And when I look back on all the jobs I worked at, this is probably the best job for me in terms of support. And I found, like I shared before, that I worked full time for a year, right? But there was a limit that I had to put in place for my own mental health. I realized that I can give back to people, but it doesn't have to be full time. And I have to put boundaries in place for myself for my own health and well being. And I remember when I was younger, I believed that once you get a job, you're gonna be able to maintain it easily. But I've learned the hard way that getting a job is one thing for me, but actually maintaining it is another thing. It's about taking care of yourself and not being sick, being able to set boundaries with other staff members and colleagues, able to say no when you're not feeling well, and feeling supported and able to communicate well in a team that supports you and that supports me. And I did work in a particular job, and I remember to telling them that I need a mental health day off. And the next thing I found out, it was a job in disability, right? So I was supporting people with disability, especially spinal cord injuries with personal care. And I remember one time back, I called up the management and said that, hey, I need a mental health day off. I could not get out of bed. And the next thing I found out, I was removed from the client because it's been shared that I had some mental health going on. And then I faced a lot of stigma, not from the organization itself. I ended up having stigma in my own self, like self-stigma, and blaming myself that it was my fault for me failing this job. But of course it's not. There's I think any jobs in the world in Australia, there should be mental health support, and there should be more education around people who struggle with mental health and want to maintain a good work-life balance and be able to maintain their job and be happy and come to work happy and feeling fulfillment and have hope and meaning, because I work because I want to have hope and meaning in my life, and I like being busy as well, I guess, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really about that. I think if you to think about work, your work shouldn't affect you in a way that it will put you in either depression or manic phase.
Yeah.
And it's about like how do you manage like working and not putting you in this situation where yeah, you can fall. And
Mm.
as you just explained, is like putting boundaries, saying no's. Saying no is probably one of the hardest thing. Like because a lot of people, because we, most of us, we are public figures, so people know us and people will contact us to seek for help and to really be able to explain to them that, um, yeah, of course, I'm happy to help, but there's things in place. It could be for me like what we've done with training, with talking group, but I cannot personally, for example, spend an hour with you all the time because it's
Yeah.
not pay and I have
Mm.
to respect my boundaries and I
Yeah.
have to, and so, and same thing, like, even if it's during work, it's during work. You cannot call me after hours, this type of thing. So, and, but it could be the same thing for everyone. Like, but what is your thought? Like, what have worked for you?
I think because over the years I've been the person who said yes, right? I couldn't say no, and that I found my place in a place of being burnt out for saying yes all the time, and I wasn't finding things and people finding meeting people who align with my values in life. And when I don't align have those people align with my values in life, it becomes imbalanced and it does not work out for me. And I feel that building emotional resilience, you have to be in the worst. I feel you have to go through some really big challenges and hardships to learn from it and be able to grow from it. I think to have stability in life, you first need to have growth. And I had to grow from those journeys, those times where I couldn't say no, and learn from the my mistakes and my failures, if that makes sense. And I just think that building that building that resilience takes a lot of time. It's not an overnight thing, Clement. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really about understanding yourself, understanding your triggers, I'm curious to know a little bit because you've been hospitalized, and so right now you haven't been since a while. And what did you do to make it this change, and why does it work for you?
Very good question. I had my first psychotic episode when I was 14. I attempted suicide and I didn't seek professional help until 5 years later when I was 19. And I had a massive breakdown. I had an anxiety attack. I called the ambulance. I was suicidal. I had a plan in place. And I found myself in my first hospital admission in the mental health ward. In the first month I was in there, I was put on constants. I couldn't be unsupervised everywhere I go. Where I was going to the bathroom, where I was eating, changing room, or sleeping, there was always a mental health nurse beside me. And and I couldn't have anything like in like a book or pen or something that I can use because I was on basically suicide watch for 1 month. And then the second month, third month, I was taken off constants and I had more freedom, I guess. But throughout those, after the first episode, I found myself in a number of also admissions when I couldn't manage my mental health, and I know I felt that I was institutionalized for life climate because I found for a sec moment there, I found out that the only way for me to get better was to be hospitalized. That took me many years to realize that my life, my mental health recovery is more than being in hospital. It's about being in the community and being hospitalized at least 10 times in my life. I've learned that it has its blessing as well because I had such a extensive number of admissions. I was offered something called CCU, Community Care Unit. It's a mental health rehab in the community. And I was there for almost 2 years. And it was probably the best and worst time of my mental health recovery in life because voices and based on like Headstrong, and they helped me look for social housing. I was on the pension, the disability pension for a while. They helped me after social housing. I learned to build more confidence in my independence, and I found my first private rental. I got put on the NDIS. I'm still on the NDIS, the National Disability Insurance Scheme. And I found that because being in the hospital for so many times, I've learned ways to manage it. Like in my first few admissions, I was a different person. If you met me 10 years ago when I was in or more in the mental health ward, I was psychotic, I was hallucinating, I was verbally aggressive. And I've learned that I can still get what I want in a calm way without being verbally aggressive, but I've learned the hard way as well. So I'm a very different person. I'm very vibrant. I'm bubbly. I love my work, and I get a lot of people tell me that I'm very like positive when I talk to them and share about a little bit of my story around my mental health recovery, and just I find that recovery is just so messy. Recovery is so confusing, but it's different for everyone. But I found the way that helps me makes my life what makes my life fulfilling and with hopeful with meaning as well.
Yeah, and I do agree because it's really about building your own system. And hospital, of course, that's a solution, but I will say that's kind of a plan B. It's like the plan A is like, how can you manage it without being hospitalized, without needing those care, with being able to basically keep working, stay home, or and I'm curious to have a little bit more detail into what are your change because I think what you talk about is accepting. So you accept it, you understand some things about yourself, about the fact that the hospital wasn't the only way but how did you get there? What helped you get into this point?
I think in terms of my own like self-helping strategies, like you said, you had to accept it. I had to acknowledge that I had a mental illness and that mental illness doesn't run my family. Sure, have seen some family members with like similar mental health issues like me, but I'm the first person in my family to be diagnosed with bipolar, and it and I accept that it's a chemical imbalance in my body because no one else in my family has been diagnosed with bipolar or has features or signs and symptoms of bipolarity. And so I think from that day I accepted it and acknowledged it. It helped me create a stepping stone to recovery. And I think in terms of recovery, one thing that a lot of people I struggled with too, is medications. I've tried many medications like risperidone, sodium valproate, Abilify injection, and also lithium as well. And most of them has failed me, and I had to go through that trial and error. And it's just so hard to find the right combination of medication because it's not a first time, but you first try something for first time and you get it. It's a trial and error. And I am on clozapine now. It's a highly regulated antipsychotic, and it works for me. I've been on it for so many years. I can't remember exactly, but it's been so long, and it works for me. And when it works magically. And I've noticed a change in my sleep. I have more than 8 hours sleep every night. I noticed that I can think more clearly. I can set boundaries with people because mental health is more than just the mind. It's other things like setting boundaries with people, being able to match your work-life balance, also like finding accommodation and not be stressed from like paying rent or something, managing stress techniques and management. Many things, like more than just the mind. It's like it's a combination of like a holistic kind of view of our mental health. And I had to experience everything to see what works for me and what didn't work for me. For example, like the medication trials. I tried many medication. I had to stop Abilify injection because after being on it for a couple of years, it started giving me blurry vision, and that wasn't good. And I see a doctor at once every month. I get a blood test done once every month, and I see a GP doctor to make sure that my clozapine levels are okay. And it's part of my recovery is to do this GP shared care thing and take care of myself. And it's been hard. Like sometimes I used to not be able to go to all these appointments on time because I didn't find that they were important enough. But they're actually really important, Clement, because part of my recovery is managing my medications, managing my planning and organization skills with my doctor, to make sure that my clozapine levels don't get too high or low, because it's a really highly regulated medication, like I said before. And just over the years, trying different things that didn't work or worked, and I have failed many friendships. I failed many courses, like nursing degree. I got excluded from nursing due to continuous academic failures, and that was a big failure for me, which I learned so much from and like really grown from it. Failed relationships. I've had men who abused me, raped me, and I've moved on from that. I've learned from that too. Uh, just so many failures, and I think the more I fail, the more stronger I become as well.
Yeah, and something that you talk about is it's really important, at least also for me, is like how do you like learn and how do you improve yourself as a person? Because it would be so easy if like mental illness was only this one thing,
Mm.
but it's a lot of things combined that help you not having problem and to have the best life that you could, I would say. And personally is about like having a dream, about basically doing a little bit better every day and accepting my limit, which is
Yeah.
never easy. And
Yeah.
so, but also one of the things you told well about is about drugs, about treatment. And it's like, it's really difficult because sometimes you don't find the right one and you feel there'll never be a treatment for you. And then it's kind of over and you don't want to try anymore. But I don't know about you, but most people I've met, at, at the end, at some point, they find the thing that works with them and then it changes everything.
Mm. Absolutely. I was on a medication that was really strong, and I remember getting into the car and driving. And next thing, I was in an accident and it was my fault. And I was like, well, Suzanne, you need to really think about your actions sometimes. Like you take this medication, but is it gonna affect other people? And I learned that I know it doesn't work first time medication. I'm not a doctor, what about you? But it didn't work first time for me, so I have to keep on trying something else, no matter how it's not sleepy it made me during the day, how the drowsiness or didn't make my voices worse, kind of thing. I think it's really a hard topic to. There's no one answer, like you said, like for mental health and treatment. It's so difficult, especially like being for someone who goes through the mental health system, hospital system for the first time. A lot of people are put on like treatment authorities, and they have no rights in what they can take medication wise. And I've been there too. I was put on involuntary treatment order when I was 19 for a couple of years, and I had to comply to the medications, or else things could get worse, it goes south for me in my mental health. And I think it's just such a complex system. Like, and that's part of my work as a lived experience peer worker is to share to people, hey, it's okay if you're going through this. I've been through that too, and it's not gonna be permanent, and it's a temporary thing, and just giving that hope to people that mental health treatment is not the only way to recover from mental health. Being in hospital is not the only way to get help. There's other ways in the community, and yes, it takes time. It's hard. It's confusing, but there's people out there who can support you slowly to get into the right steps for what your right steps are in your recovery.
Yeah, and as you say, it's really step by step. That's one of the things which is frustrating is like in most of problem, like when you get, I don't know, the flu or something else, it's like, it's kind of perfect. Well, it's not perfect, but I mean, you go to the doctor, they tell you what you have, you take your pills, and 1 week later, 2 weeks later, boom, it's gone. And it's frustrating because we tend to
Very
think of
frustrating.
mental health,
Yeah.
yeah, as the same thing, but it doesn't work the same way.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not going to heal. That's a tough thing to accept. It took me a while.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can never give up. You can never like put it aside and say, oh, it's okay. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, that one of the toughest thing. And
Yeah.
then it's really about like, what can I do every day to make it work so I don't relapse?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yes, I feel really frustrated when I think about like for reasons, medical issues. Someone presents to hospital with a broken hip. They put on like hip replacement procedures, surgeries, whatsoever, and it takes A, B, C medication, and it's fine. But like you said, like mental health, there's no A, B, or C, D for everyone because everyone is so different and complex, and it's just so frustrating to see that mental health there's no one cure for everyone, and like my mental health, I think with that, uh to really think about what really helps my mental health like, daily is that something simple as meditating or doing some breathing every day, and doing saying positive affirmations to yourself, like saying I'm worthy, I'm enough, I will get through this, like those small things goes a long way. And I try to teach people in my peer group that I help facilitate with another colleague of mine who's also a lived experience worker once a week, and we teach like breathing and like doing mindfulness, and that had the power of like even doing like 3 minutes of mindfulness meditation a day can go so far, because mental health it's not an overnight thing that you're gonna recover. It's a gradual thing, and like you said, like it's a lot of things combined together. But that could be, say, seeing a doctor, have a regular counselor, seeing a dietitian, maybe, managing your exercise and physical activity. But like small things, like I love meditating. I see a counselor for once every 2 weeks online, and we do like chair yoga together, and we do some breathing exercises together. And I try to do it in my own time as well. Although I could wish I could do it a bit better, but it's still there.
Yeah, and that's the thing that works for you. And also really like meditation and breathing exercise. It really
Yes.
helped me too. But the hard thing is it's not the same. Some people it will be maybe sport. Some people it will be, I don't know, writing. Some people will be a mix of those.
Yeah.
And it's really finding our own path to stability, to recovery. What would you like to say to someone who feel kind of broken, like that it doesn't have hope? What would you like to tell him or her?
Good question. I think telling someone who's feeling broken that, hey, I've been there too. It's gonna be okay. Keep going. Simply put, it's not a permanent thing. It will get better. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, but it will get better. And that, yeah, recovery is different for everyone. It looks different for everyone. And yeah, you can talk to someone, and if you find someone who helps you validate your feelings, someone who listens to you, hold on to them, because those people are probably the best people who's gonna help you with your recovery. Because when I was first psychotic and I was unwell, like really unwell, being in the hospital, I met even a nurse who told me, "Hey, I've seen people worse than you, Suzanne." And I was like, okay. I felt judged, and I felt my feelings wasn't validated. I was in the mental health ward, and I wish someone would, back then, would tell me that it's gonna be okay, and that my feelings are valid, and they want to listen to me.
Quick break. Can you let us a review on Apple Podcasts or the platform of your choice? It really helps us break the stigma around bipolarity. Let's get back to the episode.
But it's like without drugs, I think I hadn't really have a psychotic phase and I haven't hear voice. But I would like you to explain a little bit like how does it happen and how did you handle it?
Yes, so my psychosis was not induced by drugs. It's more of a chemical imbalance in my body, I believe. And I remember, if I look back when I was 14, I was hearing voices. And the voices, it can be like inside my head or outside my head. I haven't had voices for many years, long time, but when I do get unwell, I do hear voices, and it can be like a female or male voice. And as a Christian, really struggled with when hearing voices, and I couldn't comprehend if it was the voice of God or voice of my own head. And that was really frightening. And I remember being in CCU, communication unit, and I remember just coming, because I'm allowed to leave the mental health rehab like freely as many times before it's come back before 9 p.m. each night. And I remember walking from CCU down to the shops, and I looked into the bush, and I heard a voice in the bush. And sometimes the voices can be very subtle. It's like, oh, it's asking me like, how was my day, in a really weird way kind of thing. Or it can be something really frightening, terrifying. Hurt yourself, do this to yourself, you're gonna die right now kind of thing. And I remember sometimes in my being admitted to the mental health ward, I was admitted into the mental health ward because of how distressing the voices were. They were frightening, they were threatening me, they were commanding me, and it was part of my hearing my voice, the voices in my head. But then over the years, I've learned that when the voice is very calm, I can deal with it. But if it gets worse than that, I am very aware when it gets worse, and I'll know when to call for help. I know when to call an ambulance. Like when I was a call ambulance when I was 19, even though I was so broken at that stage, Cameron, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, I need help right now. So I called the ambulance. I was suicidal. I was hearing voices. Had a plan in place, a suicidal plan in place. And the police came to my home. I was living with my grandparents at the time. And the police was called, the ambulance was called. I was brought in, and I was on involuntary treatment order. Next thing I found out. Yeah, so it's for some people, I feel they can live with their voices, like how I live with my voices. I don't hear the threatening ones, the frightening ones anymore, but sometimes I do hear the more subtle ones, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And do you know why it happened? Like, why is that?
No particular one answer. I think it's just part of my chemical imbalance, Clement. Yeah. It's part of my mental illness and having also schizoaffective disorder, the bipolar type. Yeah. It's just part of it is hearing voices. Yeah. And yeah, and I manage it with mainly medications, and I think that clozapine really helps with me with that as well.
Yeah, and this is something that I've talked about in the past, and wonder what's your opinion. Is like I sometimes I feel religion and people who have been saint or have been like major people. Do you think they could have been bipolar, for example, or do you think they were hearing voice, or what is your belief? Because there's I don't know this possibility of like being linked.
Mm. I remember the first church I went to, a Pentecostal Christianity church, and I remember I was quite unwell at the time, and I was having a couple of my early admissions, mental health, and I remember telling one of the senior leaders that I heard God, and God told me to die and hurt myself. And she was like, no, God would never do that to you. And the next minute, I felt I was judged. And from the community, I'm not just a particular leader, I just felt that they just want me to pray. And if I pray hard enough, I would be cured of these mental health issues and illnesses. And I felt so judged, Clement, and it didn't help at all. I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but just my experience with like Christianity and hearing voices, it went south, like really south. And I did not like being told that it was just all in my head and that God is bigger than the voices kind of thing. But I was trying to explain to someone in the church that it's very real. It's a very real experience for me and that I'm struggling with it. And what you're saying, it's not helping, you know? And I've tried 2 or 3 churches in my lifetime. I was a Buddhist. I converted to Christianity back in 2013. I was baptized by water, baptized by the Holy Spirit. But I found that the church environment really, I couldn't really align well with it in terms of my mental health and the church and what they expected me to learn about religion and dogma, which is so confusing. And I didn't feel I belong in each community. Every time I try to I've been in 3 churches since 2013. I haven't been for a while now, 20 years. Remembering back, it was just really hard to try to connect well with anyone in the church environment because I felt that there was a lot of stigma in the community as well. And people didn't really understand about mental health. And so I left, and I think it's probably the best decision I made for myself. In terms of Christianity and like hearing voices and getting people understand me as well.
And it's always same thing that where both learn is to really find the what works for us, because it's like it could be being heard, it could be the right treatment, it could be the right routine, it could be the right psychiatrist or counselor, and it is difficult. And I also struggle some days, and it's not easy to find
No.
the right path. But when you try, of course you can do it, and your chance and your life will be much better than not trying. And it's really, it's like sometimes, and maybe it happened to you too, sometimes, I kind of want to give up, and I don't want to try anymore. But maybe you have some idea to encourage me and maybe other people. Like, what do you tell to yourself in this moment?
Yeah. There's a quote that I really like, which I try to live by. It goes, difficult roads leads to beautiful destinations. So I still have bad days, Clement. I am a mental health champion. Sure, I've like really feel I've really been head on strong with my recovery and mental health. But I am still human. I have those bad days too. And I tell myself, that's okay. I'm a human being and it's okay to not be okay. And for anyone listening out there, like I said, one day, bad day does not depict that you're going to have a bad rest of your life kind of day, kind of, right, And then, mental health is, like I said before, it's messy, it's confusing, and you don't have to have it all. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You can have some, but you can't have it all at one time. And it's a life with chaos is, I feel for myself, worth living because it helps me grow as a person. And if my life was easy, I think it would be super boring. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this quote, and the fact that, of course, when you have more challenge, you learn more, you become more resilient. And I feel like, yeah, as bipolar, we had those tough moments, but also the fact that I believe we see the world in a different way, which is quite useful, and having the possibility to have different opinion. So, but yeah, it's tough, and I think it's important to say it because I think we don't want to make it look like easy. Like, it's not like we figure it out. It's just we're still struggling. We still have those bad days. And yeah, what helped me a lot is to be able to talk about it, because when I felt I wasn't alone and I wasn't the only one, then it's like it released a little bit.
It's relief, yeah. And I think over the years working in mental health, even before it, I feel people with bipolar are some of the most compassionate creatures I've ever met. Like once we, on the right path, whatever what that means for us, we give back in a way that is so selfless. Like how you sharing your story and helping others connect to people with different bipolar. It's so beautiful in a sense. Like we can talk about freely without feeling any stigma, right? Yeah, and we're breaking the stigma as we go along as well. It's such a beautiful thing to have. Sometimes I think, oh, I'm glad I have bipolar because I'm so creative. Van Gogh, the artist who killed his left ear, took off his left ear, he had bipolar. He's so creative, and I love being creative too. I'm an artist. I do photography, writing, as a lot of things. Yeah, I love being creative as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing also. Like, there's good and bad, and it's like everything which is different. It's like, because you have different and you can do different things, and the world need that. It's like they've been bipolar for as long as the beginning probably, and even if there's a part of genetic, we still have like the same rate of bipolar from what I know since a while. And so it means there's something that means it's useful to society to have this divergent point of view, to have this different way of thinking. And it's needed. Doesn't mean it's easy. I think it's tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's needed. And how do you actually make it a good thing? Because I feel most of the people I've met who are stable, they find a way to, what we say is, transform it into an opportunity, because they, instead of like complaining and being like sad about it, they find a way to be like, okay, I'm different, so I'm going to do something like that other people won't do, that will actually do something cool and become a better version of myself. And so what would you like to say about this?
I think as a younger person, I was always told, Suzanne, why do you keep changing things? Why do you do this, that? Why do you make it yourself more, put yourself in harder situations, kind of thing? But I'm like, no, I'm living the life that I want to live, and through my struggles and challenges, it's a life of like transforming myself into someone better in my own sense of what does that mean to me to be a better person, to give back more to the community. It's so many aspects around it, and I believe that just the struggles and the challenges, I would not, toss them up for anything else. Like, I'm glad I got excluded from nursing. I'm glad I had that failed relationship. I'm glad I had a driving accident, which nearly, like, mentally tore me apart. But I'm glad there's comments on YouTube on my mental health channel that were really bad. I've like I said, the comment saying that I was gonna end my life today, but I saw your video and I didn't. Just transforming my life in those little ways to help other people, but with also being in mind and being in mindful that I can give so much, but can't pour from an empty cup. Like, I have to fill my cup first before I help other people. And that's one reason why I reduced my hours with work. I was working 76 hours a fortnight for 1 year, and now I've reduced it to 38 hours a fortnight, and it's probably the best decision I made for my mental health recently. Yeah. And it's just so beautiful and says, oh yeah, I was able to go through that experience and learn from it. That I couldn't do full-time work. That's okay. So I still have got that support from the team, which is amazing. I love my team. I love my team leader. And it's just so good to have that supportive environment in the workplace.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you say. It's like, what do we need as a person, and how do we make it so it works? And sometimes, like, personally, I felt like, yeah, I can do better and I can do more. But I like the cup thing. It's like, if your cup empty, you cannot give water to anyone else. And I think as bipolar, at least for me, I always like and love to help other people and to give and to help people like fix a problem. But if you don't put yourself first at some point, then you will collapse.
Yes.
And that's kind of terrible. It's interesting that you talk about it, because I'm having those thoughts at the moment on how can I balance.
Yeah. It's a
Because you
hard one.
cannot, it is tough, huh? And put limit and basically, because we cannot help everyone and we cannot help everyone for free.
Yes.
And some people, I will say, abuse a little bit this like empathy and this willing to help. And so some people kind of abuse a little bit this empathy as it's willing to help. And it's lagging a little bit. Do you hear me? Yeah, I think you're back.
Yes, can you hear me?
But I cannot hear you. Can you? Oh yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. We will cut this part. Some people are actually kind of using our willingness to give and our empathy too much. And what I'm learning at the moment is, and it's not easy, but it's to basically let them go.
Yeah.
And basically say, yeah, it's like, of course you will ask more and more. And I usually say yes. And of course, maybe I've said yes in the past without you giving back. But I don't want to anymore. Like, it has to be like a win-win situation. If it's a win for you and a lose for me, then I cannot do it every time. And I'm happy to do it once, like helping someone once that really need.
Yeah.
Why not? But someone over and over again and thinking like, I need to help them without them to give back. At some point, it's a bit tiring.
Yeah.
And it's also tougher because, okay, sometimes there are individuals which are not wealthy, but sometimes they're also like companies or they're institution, but they're taking and using, and then they're not giving back, and then you feel empty about it. I'm having those reflections at the moment. I'm curious to have your point of view.
Yeah. I have a train of thought. I'm not sure it's relevant what you said just now, but I remember when I first started my mental health career as a lived experience worker, I really had the big drive to help people, right? But there was a point I was helping to this point where I was bringing work home. I was thinking about the the client that I had tried to help with, I was ruminating on it. I couldn't sleep. I was worried, but was the person like okay? Did they have a good day, or are they unwell, kind of thing? And I learned from that experience that I can try to disconnect from work after finishing work. And I think that's an art in itself too. Because there was sometimes I felt so tired after work because I was thinking about the client after work and before I start work, kind of thing. So that first year was very crucial for my learning and my growth, that I had to learn how to disconnect from work and separate it from my own personal life. It's so easy to say, but it's hard to do,
Yeah, and I feel like as an entrepreneur, it's a bit difficult because you're not paid by the hour. And you can work on whatever you want. And some people will ask you to work for free.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I love doing volunteering, and I'm not against doing it again, but it's like, I cannot do it for everyone. It shouldn't be like, I think volunteering shouldn't be for the same people over and over again. It should be about helping a little bit everyone, and also like putting your own needs sometime first, which I haven't done enough. I think it's really like this realization. It's not easy, but I think it's interesting to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I feel with our empathy, we can have this problem as bipolar.
Yes, I do face that at times too. And even though I'm working now, I'm in a good paid job. I try to find at least like maybe every 2 or 3 months, Clement, I try to find a charity fundraiser who might need a volunteer photographer. So I reach out and give back in that way. But I remember before I started working in the paid role, I was trying to look for volunteer opportunities and I felt burnt out. I was tired all the time. I was overwhelmed that I was not making any money from doing those volunteering work, And I find the thing with like also guest speakers and like the mental health and disability, a lot of people do think, oh, it's okay to do free work or exposure kind of thing, But you gotta think about, like your we deserve to get paid as well, right? Like as anyone who has bipolar or not, it's still a job, and people who don't find the value in maybe paying someone. It's good that there will always be people who want to do it for free, for exposure, for time, and that kind of thing. It's interesting because I'm also struggling as well, like doing like speaking gigs sometimes. If one of my acquaintance friend, she invited me to speak on International Women's Day for this year, and she did a free gig with her for her event a couple years back. So I find it hard to ask her, "Can you pay me for this?" So I'm struggling in that sense too, So yeah, I guess like it's good to have exposure in one sense, but also we deserve to get paid as well. I deserve to get paid as well. It's a hard one to think.
Yeah, and it's not like exposure for like someone who's selling houses. Because if you get exposure, if you sell houses, then you will probably make sales and you will make money. It's like, if we get exposure for helping people with bipolar for free, we'll have more people with bipolar who want help for free. So it's not like we're going to make money based on exposure.
Yeah.
So that's also a tough thing but I think, yeah, the system is kind of weird in this way because everybody's saying that it's great to be a peer helper and everything, but most people are not willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it's still a tough moment, I think.
Yeah, it's tough. At the end of the day, we all have bills to pay, right? So
No, yeah, exactly, and it's why I'm like focusing more and more in helping companies with, for example, employees who have mood disorder or bipolar, because then it's a little bit easier to make them pay, because I cannot mentally ask bipolar people to pay. I don't know. I try. I couldn't.
okay.
Curious to have like this last question, which is, if you have a magic wand, what would you change in mental health?
I would change the notion that people think that once you're on mental health medications, your life will be perfect, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. To lower the expectation a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Do you have one more thing you would like to talk about that we haven't had the chance to do so?
No, I think I'm all good. Thanks, Clement. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And then, if it's okay with you, we can do some like quick fire question.
Yeah, sure.
And the goal is to try to answer it fast.
Okay.
It's not easy,
Oh,
but and then you'll find a way, I'm pretty sure.
okay.
One habit that keeps you stable.
Sleep. Good sleep.
Yeah, I think so. It seems the same. Do you still fear relapse?
Yes and no, because yes, it's a bit scary, but no, because I think I have all the tools and techniques I can use to overcome relapse.
Is work help your recovery? Yes or no?
Yes, it gives me hope and meaning to work.
Hmm. Something people romanticize too much about bipolarity.
That they say the weather is bipolar. I think that's keeps on being oversaid.
Something people fear too much.
Mental when someone dies, like in the and media portrays it, people quickly think that it's because of mental illness.
What saves your life at your lowest point?
Having hope. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's what we call upstage. I think hope is so important. And yeah, I think we cover it. Thanks a lot for your time, Susan. It was
all
great having
good.
you.
Thank you for having me, Clement. Yeah.
To learn more about bipolarity, go to our website, upstage.com, HOPESTAGE.com. See you soon.